it's always really easy to lean into performative, but that's always going to be where you start to come across as fake or phony or any of those negative words that people ascribe to individuals. And like sometimes you can get past that by just having really valuable content, but a lot of the times you can't. A lot of the times this visual element, because we all have to accept that we're in a visual medium and we're in an audio medium, and so there is a performance and a veneer to all of this, and we just have to accept that. Like no matter how much it's a dialogue between us and like the audience and things, you are sitting here recording yourself, and so it is not the same as just being friends. You're friends heightened.
Should you record your podcast in your pajamas? Today, Casey and I have gotten extra comfy and we are recording in our pajamas because we want our show to feel more organic and casual. Everybody's gotten that note from a friend or a listener or a colleague that your content isn't organic enough or that it feels too staged. This is one of the most frustrating notes to get because we worked so hard to make our content great and polished, and then we get told, you did too much. But wait, what if making our content more organic isn't actually a matter of not trying as hard, but actually trying even harder?
Today, we're going to talk about how to make your show feel more organic without just giving up. Welcome to Podcast Support, the show where we tackle the questions every podcaster needs answered to grow a successful show. Whether you're just starting out or scaling an existing audience, we break down the roadblocks, share practical strategies, and give you step-by-step answers so you can spend less time guessing and more time building the podcast you want.
Thank you for contacting Podcast Support.
We're cozy, we're in our nice outfits. I think when we're thinking about how to make your show organic, though, it comes down to being prepared. You have to be able to be prepared because the only way that you can feel cool, calm, and collected is if you know what needs to be said and what needs to be communicated throughout the episode.
Yeah, honestly, being prepared is probably the number one way to actually come across as organic in pretty much anything, even if it's an onstage presentation, a podcast. Because if you're constantly thinking to yourself, oh, what do I have to say? What is it that I want to get across? You come across panicked, not organic.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill. It's something that you practice and you get better at over time. And so I think the other element of it is that performance. And one of those things that I try to instill in, hosts that we would talk to and stuff is to be kind to yourself. We're all very empathetic creatures and we're all, forgiving of other people, but we have to be forgiving of ourselves because there's going to be mistakes that happen. There's going to be times where you stutter or you say, or things like that. And if you get so caught in your head trying to solve those miniature problems, then you're going to miss out on performing well and being organic with the person who you're talking to, especially in like interview settings. I've seen so many times where somebody will start asking a question and then they get so fixated on if they're asking the question right that you can tell that they're thinking so hard about that it stops feeling like they're actually present in the conversation.
Yeah, and expecting that you're going to come across as organic in like your very first few podcast episodes too, or right when you realize that you need to make this change to being more organic, is not very realistic. Like it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out how to get your performance to actually come across as organic and casual. Because the people who can do that on TikTok and podcasts and all that kind of stuff, they have been practicing for a very long time. Is how I want to put that. Basically, they're experts at it because they are able to have so many different elements of their performance coming across as if they're not trying. And they are trying. I promise you that.
Yeah, if you go back in anybody's feed, as long as they haven't deleted those old episodes, you will see them start to grow and expand. I think it's always a really good thing is like any type of creator that you like or that you want to emulate or be like, go and check out their old stuff and like go through the process of looking at how they grew and evolved, because all of them started out at a way different place than they are now in their performance.
So number one, when we want to be organic, which we already covered, is we have to be prepared. We have to know what we're talking about. We have to know what it is we need to accomplish, how we want to phrase things, what the value is we're giving to our audience. But what are the other levers that we can pull that will make our content feel more organic or more casual. And one of them is what Case and I are already doing. It's your wardrobe, how you choose to dress. Today we're wearing pajamas. I don't know if you've seen. We've both seen Lady Gang, the podcast,
yeah,
where they hang out in their sweatsuits and they just chat.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, absolutely. I would put background kind of in correlation with this.
Absolutely.
It's what visually you're showcasing. And I think one of the funniest things is when you look at like any ESPN podcast or show and you see somebody who's like in their bedroom or in their like home office and they're still wearing a 3-piece suit. And like, I totally get that, ESPN, their whole brand is like professional sports and everything, but it always feels so weird to me of like, and I think it holds back. I genuinely think it holds back some of those shows from performing well on YouTube or other platforms because there is a dissonance that happens when you're not interacting with the platforms how they're meant to be interacted with. And so making sure that you come across as natural in whoever that is for you. And if that is you are somebody who's just very professional and wears a suit, well, then maybe you need to think about how you're designing your background to match that type of presentation that you're giving.
Definitely having your outfit and your background match, which is kind of funny because we're specifically not doing that today. We specifically have like our normal background and this dichotomy of how we're dressed. But a casual, normal background does not mean messy. It does not mean that you didn't put effort into it. When you see a podcaster who has a background that's like feels like they're hanging out in their bedroom, that's a very specific curated look they've gone for. Very rarely, I actually did see a podcast today where someone was filming in their closet, where they just were standing in their closet with their clothes behind them. And I thought that was a weird look.
If it worked for them, I'm proud of them. But it's not what I would do, and I don't think it probably leads to the best results. But there's this YouTuber who's been growing pretty fast, and he is a home decor and like home renovation style YouTuber. And always he's just sitting there with like a glass of wine, and he's just sitting against like his wall, and it's like just this like cozy as he just kind of whispers all of his advice to you and stuff. And like,
I think you showed him to me the other day. He was pretty good.
Yeah, that's something that like his is very low effort, and like it's very funny because he's this home design person, but because he has this like warm, chill vibe to him, it actually works for him. So I think it's always about figuring out like how this fits to you and your personality.
Yeah. Because if he was sitting in his garage with like a tool bench behind him that was all messy, like that wouldn't give that same warm, cozy vibe.
No,
that would suddenly be like, what are we like? There's like a weird juxtaposition here that I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah, and like I would then like say, okay, well, how do we expand on that? Because like it's a chill vibe for him, but I do think that there is a way to make that a better viewing experience, which would be, maybe put him in a plushy, comfy chair that is surrounded by greenery and plants and stuff. Like start to heighten what this is, because I think that is the next stage. Is like once you figure out your style, your vibe, all of that, your brand, then you have to figure out, okay, well, how do I continue to take this to the next level? And that doesn't mean spending more money, because I think oftentimes people think, okay, the next level is having your big, awesome studio or something. And for so many people, that's like absolutely the wrong choice. You should not do that. You should instead like find little ways to make it more you and more personalized so that people can start to find new ways to engage with you.
I think that actually you just brought up a really good point, which is basically that casual is not limited to one specific type of emotion. And there's so many different ways you can make your audience feel by whatever casual setup that you have, like warm and cozy, chill. You could do like something that's like gamer, exciting aesthetic, but still casual. And like there's so many different emotions we can convey with our wardrobe and our background within that realm of casual.
Yep.
So I think the next level beyond just like casual is what emotion are we going for? Are we going to make someone feel warm and cozy? And like, what are we going to do with our lighting? And like, but we need to make it still feel organic, which is kind of like the opposite of what you were just saying, which is when people get some fancy studio, that's when things stop feeling organic. That's when it starts feeling like try hard, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's always that line that you have to walk of feeling natural versus feeling performative. And it's always really easy to lean into performative, but that's always going to be where you start to come across as fake or phony or any of those negative words that people ascribe to individuals. And like sometimes you can get past that by just having really valuable content, but a lot of the times you can't. A lot of the times this visual element, because we all have to accept that we're in a visual medium and we're in an audio medium. And so there is a performance and a veneer to all of this. And we just have to accept that. Like, no matter how much it's a dialogue between us and like the audience and things, you are sitting here recording yourself. And so it is not the same as just being friends. Your friends heightened. There's that little click that's that little bit more that you have to be to get your performance across to the camera.
Yeah.
And so you can't just, if you come across as just like your totally average self within your performance or your background or anything like that, it's going to feel depressed because the camera is at a distance from you. So you have to, it's like with theater. In theater, there's always the phrase of perform for the person in the back of the theater. And so that's why like theater performances are really big. Well, the camera is still a little bit away from us, so we still have to perform out. It's just that our performing out is a lot less than a theater.
Yeah. So I guess that the other lever that we can also pull within all of this to like affect how our show comes across with organic in terms of how organic it is editing. How do we edit our show so that it feels natural and organic? And I'm not sure that there's like a specific type of editing that works best for organic. I think it once again comes down to having the editing matching your performance as well as matching how your environment and your outfit looks. And making sure that all those work together. Because I think that it becomes inorganic when they clash.
Yeah.
So if you're talking really fast and your editing is really slow, and so you're talking really fast and all of a sudden you pause and there's no cut and then you talk really fast again, that probably feels pretty inorganic to people.
Yeah.
But and then vice versa, when you talk really slow and it's cutting up constantly and like you're stepping on your own words because of the editing, that comes across weird.
Yeah.
So I think it's about matching all of these things together.
Yeah, it's the same with if you have a plushy couch and all of the editing is really, really fast, that starts to feel at a dissonance, that there's a break between what's being told visually and what's being told through the edit. So I definitely think that that's correct.
Yeah. So basically what we've come down to is we need to be prepared. We need to make sure that everything that we have on camera and with the editing is all like melding together and going for the same tone and vibe. And I think that now the important question is, what kills casualness and what kills organic? So obviously clashing, like you said, wearing a suit while sitting in your living room and having your dog running around in the background kills it.
Yeah. I think clashing is a huge one. I think it's the clashing between performance and style, or dress and wardrobe and style, like all of that type of thing where it feels like there's something out of step is definitely I think that
might be number one.
I think that's probably number one, because honestly, performance, I think how you act on camera there's so much that can be forgiven with how much value you're offering to people. But then I would say that is the other one, is value. If you're not offering a ton of value to people, that starts to feel inorganic, or like you want something from them. If you're constantly asking people to do something for you and you're not providing to them, then that is going to make a huge that's going to feel like you're not organic or natural, or like you're slimy and you're a salesperson.
Hard sales pitches kill organic content.
Yeah.
They never feel organic, whether it's a social media post or a podcast, or even if you're just going into a furniture store or a car dealership. You start a conversation with someone, with a dealer, with like a salesman. They go into the pitch, and immediately you're like, oh, you're not a real person.
Yeah, I'm sure that everyone has had this experience of you're hanging out with a friend and suddenly they're like I was actually just thinking about this. There's this friend that I've sort of stopped responding to.
I have friends who I did that.
And it's because every time I hang out with them, they're like, hey, yeah, this is like this type of content we should start making together. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to. Like, I came here to hang out. And now you're asking me to do work. Like, no, I would rather just vibe with you, man.
I'm actually interested in you as a human.
Yeah, but
not as a business opportunity.
But I'm growing less interested by the second. Don't hard sell your friends and don't hard sell your audience.
That's actually a really good point. I think we really stumbled upon something there.
I'm so mad now.
So I think that the last question, honestly, is, does content always have to be organic? Or feel organic or feel casual? And honestly, I think that the answer is no. I think that for some shows, that's correct. Absolutely. But other shows, like, you don't have to come across like you're not trying.
Yeah.
That's not required. That's just a note that we get a lot. And sometimes that's the right choice. You have to make that choice for yourself, whether you want to go for that.
Yeah.
But it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's true that only organic content works on the internet.
Yeah. I think you don't have to be organic. You have to be authentic.
Authentic is absolutely authentic.
Yeah.
Authentic is very important, but I don't think authentic and organic are the same thing.
Sometimes I think people oftentimes try to make those two things a full circle.
Yeah.
They try to make them the same thing, and that ends up really hurting people in the early stages because they get so caught up with like all the little things that can make them feel organic, and they stop thinking about how am I authentic?
Yeah. There's some people right now absolutely killing it within the like comedy deep research space on YouTube, where like they'll go, like do deep dives into specific topics, and like those videos come across casual, but they don't come across as organic. They come across as very produced, very planned, but also authentic. And I think it's important to just understand the difference between all of these different things of organic, casual, authentic, and it's very important to know the difference between all those things and to not get too hung up on like thinking that organic is the be all end all of, how to make your content feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Casey, thank you very much for joining me on this very organic podcast.
It's been so organic. We've said organic so many times.
We really should have had just like a bunch of flowers or something in front of us when we recorded this. Oh, there's a fake plant behind you.
Yeah, that's so organic.
So organic. Thanks for watching Podcast Support, the most organic podcast on the internet.
If you've enjoyed this, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all those like fun, unique things that are super organic ways to communicate with each other.
Yeah, and definitely not something you told people not to do in the last podcast episode.
I told them to find other ways during the episode, which then we didn't do in this episode. Just because we have good advice doesn't mean we always take it, okay?
That's what we're working on, practicing what we preach.
Yeah. You know what? Don't like, don't comment, don't subscribe.
We're
This
the
one,
anti.
yeah, we're done.
Done.